This is Ray Hilborn. I'm a professor at the School of Aquatic and Fishery Sciences at the University of Washington, and I am an MPA skeptic, and this short talk is going to explain why I'm an MPA skeptic. First, I want to begin with Thomas Huxley, who was best known as Darwin's bulldog, that he was an aggressive defender of the theory of evolution. And with respect to science, Huxley said, "Skepticism is the highest of duties. Blind faith is the one unpardonable sin." And I see that the discussion of marine protected areas in the realm of marine conservation has become one largely of faith rather than one of skepticism. And I want to talk about what happens when we start actually looking at the data and what we know about marine protected areas, and that'll explain why I'm a skeptic. First, the oceans are indeed under threat. There are lots of things that are going on that are changing the way the oceans work and the potential benefits we get from the oceans. There's global warming. There is ocean acidification. To me, these are really the two biggest threats to the ocean. But we also have oil spills, whether the Exxon Valdez or the Deepwater Horizon are one of hundreds or thousands of other oil spills. We have land-based runoff of sediments. For instance, the Great Barrier Reef is under severe threat from land-based runoff, from mining activities on land, a whole range of activities on land. We have plastics and other pollutants, and we have illegal fishing. Now, the key point I want to make is that none of these things are protected by marine protected areas. Marine protected areas don't really do anything to any of these. The only threat that marine protected areas protect the ocean from is legal regulated fishing. And we have a whole range of ways of regulating fisheries that are much more effective than marine protected areas. Second major reason for my skepticism is there actually isn't much evidence that marine protected areas increase the abundance of fish. They almost certainly increase the abundance of fish inside a protected area. But even if the targets of 30% of the oceans in protected area or of protected areas is reached, you're still going to have 70% that's not protected, but not in MPAs. And all MPAs do is move the effort outside of the protected areas. And the evidence is that the abundance of fish outside protected areas goes down. This is data from the Channel Islands in California, perhaps the best studied MPA network in the world. And what you see here is after establishment in red, the abundance of fish inside protected areas went down, and in blue, the abundance went up inside, went down outside. And since most of the area is outside protected areas, if you do the arithmetic, there were fewer fish in the ecosystem because of the marine protected areas. Current big push has been to declare large ocean marine protected areas. To me, this is just bogus protection, because all they're doing is protecting these from fishing, and most of these that have been declared, there is no fishing going on. So a whole bunch of political and scientific energy has gone in to getting marine protected areas declared where nothing will change. And we would much rather spend that energy on improving fisheries management. So if we were to declare large ocean protected areas where there is fishing going on, I see negative consequences. First, if they're in rich countries, people are still going to import the same amount of food, and they're going to do it either by importing more livestock or by importing fish caught from poorly managed fisheries, and the net environmental impact of those is going to be negative. That if the U.S. declares large ocean MPAs, we already manage our fisheries well. Places we import our food from don't typically manage their fisheries well. If you have large ocean MPAs in poor countries, the people are going to suffer because they need the food that comes from them. So let's think about what the problems and solutions for are for marine ecosystem conservation. If the problem is overfishing, what we want to do is reduce fishing pressure. Marine protected areas don't reduce fishing pressure. They simply move it. If the problem is bycatch of non-target species, whether sharks or uh, or almost anything, birds, mammals, turtles, the solution is technical measures and gear-specific time area closures. There's a very strong record of solving bycatch problems by those methods. You don't need marine protected areas to do that, and all marine protected areas do is move the bycatch from where it is now to where the effort shifts. If the problem is damage to sensitive habitats, then close those areas to the gears that affect the habitat. Again, this is standard practice in a good fisheries management system, and you don't need no-take marine protected areas to do it. You need to simply ban the gears that are problematic. Just as an example of identifying and protecting sensitive habitats, this is a map of U.S. waters in Alaska showing the pattern of various kinds of regulations, which are largely closures to specific gears based upon either threats to target species, habitats, or non-target species. This is the kind of protection the ocean needs, one that is comprehensive over the entire region, not one that just covers 30% of the region. A major U.S. foundation recently did a program review and concluded that they had spent something like $200 million on MPA science and advocacy, and that they would have better protected biodiversity if they had focused on improving fisheries management. So in conclusions, MPAs only protect the ocean from legal regulated fishing, and even if 30% target is achieved, it will not constitute significant protection from the real threats, and it also won't constitute particularly good protection from fishing. There's little, if any, evidence that there's a net increase in biodiversity if you look both outside and inside of marine protected areas. Closing large areas of the ocean to fishing will reduce ocean food production with high environmental costs associated with alternative foods, and biodiversity will be better protected from fishing, and food production will be maintained by expanding fisheries management, which protects all the areas, not more no-take areas.